I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact focused on personal growth, my Knowledge Workbook series and Creative Healing course can help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about how my avoidant ex came back.
It's going to be interesting.
Many of you guys are absolutely convinced you're not going to hear from your ex again, especially if they have an avoidant attachment style. When we launched the channel so many years ago, no one was talking about attachment theory, especially in regards to breakups. Now, there's 50 million people giving 50 million different opinions. Please be careful where you get your information from. Look to see what their credentials are or their background, because a lot of times they just make stuff up, okay? And it makes you feel bad about the situation. You know, I saw a comment just a couple of days ago believing that less than 20% of exes reach out.
Wow.
It's absolutely no way.
Wow.
Okay? Guys, if you leave your ex alone, they're going to be far more likely to reach out. But yeah, when you've pressured them, badgered them, driven past their house, scared them, of course they're going to be a lot less likely to reach out because you've just been pushing for something that they weren't ready for. Okay.
Right. And when we generalize, when we say all avoidants act like this all the time, then that's not really an accurate depiction of what's going on here. We know that people are very different. Even attachment styles can be a spectrum. And so we want to consider all things. You know, avoidant exes, they do and can come back. We've seen it. Avoidant exes can become secure, right? We're all people and we're all trying to grow and do better for ourselves and gain this kind of connection that we want. So,
as a matter of fact, that made me think of, I had another guy this past week tell me that he read a blog article or something along those lines that anxious people are less likely to come back.
Interesting. Interesting. I could see under certain contexts maybe, but for the most part, anxious people are anxious for a reason.
Because they're feeling separation anxiety, okay? So, no, they're not less likely to come back. So, the amount of bad information that's out there is just upsetting and frustrating for me because I want to see you guys successful, and I know that you get confused and mixed up. What should you ignore? Should you ignore this bid to connect? What should you respond to? And so it can be really upsetting, confusing, and scary.
Right. And a lot of people say things just because it's sensational.
That's true.
Right? It's sensationalized, and so, you know, they're saying things to capture your attention and might be less concerned with the accuracy of it or the support for it. So a lot of what we say, just in what we see, is based on our experience speaking with people, talking about breakups, gathering this kind of information for ourselves through the lens of the things that we have learned in our background and our expertise. So
if you take a look at our channel, and you can look at others very closely, look at how many of our titles are clickbaity. Look at how many of them are talking about authentic ways to have connection, to repair things, to consider your partner's feelings, to consider what went wrong, how to grow, right? As opposed to people that are just putting out a weekly clickbait video to get you to click on it, okay? We put out a lot of content that we know it's not going to get a lot of views because we would rather put out stuff that we authentically feel good about that is going to help you. You know, like one that always comes to mind is like how to make your partner feel loved. Nobody's watching it. It's not clickbaity. But for those of you that do watch it, you get a lot out of it and it really changes your life.
right.
So today I've got a really good email on somebody's avoidant ex coming back, okay? And you're going to see this lines up with a lot of the things that we see when avoidant exes come back. Because remember, even though in the beginning your ex feels like they still have you, especially if you've tried to change your mind and begged and all those things. But as time goes by, they start to fear losing you and think you hate them, you don't want to talk to them anymore, and they're reluctant to reach out.
Right, even if they're avoidant.
Yes. So let's get into this one. They said, "Hi, Coach Craig. I appreciated our coaching session back in January, and you gave me a ton of advice to simply focus on myself, do the workbooks, and let my avoidant ex come back to me. I know success stories brought me some motivation on my lower days, and I wanted to share mine as well in case it's helpful. This was our second breakup, and I truly thought he was done."
How many times have we heard that?
Okay, we need to like flashing lights on this video. Truly thought he was done alarm. There should be a little alarm in every video when somebody says truly thought he was done, a little siren.
And many of you are in the situation where you've had multiple breakups and you just get more and more disheartened each time. So, if you're in this situation, listen up. Or if you're worried about being in this situation, listen up.
Yeah, so let's see what happens to somebody who truly thought their ex was done. "So I had no other option but to go fully inward. Haha," they said. "I picked up Pilates and running, got a dream job, and spent time traveling with my friends and family. My ex had been slowly escalating on social media the past 3 months. 9 months after the breakup." We need a little alarm for that. Like little flashing sirens. 9 months after the breakup. "But I chose not to put any stock in it since it wasn't much effort. It continued to escalate more. Story watching turned to liking everything, including some older posts." That, boy, when they're doing that, they're really trying to poke at you.
Right.
They're really trying to get your attention. They went 3 years back and they're liking an old photo from 2022.
It's not just because you came up on their feed. Now it's intentional.
Yeah, you see? "While I was genuinely becoming happier and more at peace. He even responded to an old meme I sent a year ago like I had just sent it today. LOL.
Wow.
You see, this is what we tell you. He was being really sneaky, right? But you don't want to react to this. We need him to make some kind of effort.
Right.
Something more.
And I love that she had said that because that means the mindset is right on that. Many of you would have seen that and enabled and jumped on that opportunity to say, "Oh, hey, I noticed that you liked this photo," or "Hey, how are you doing?" Right? But being able to maintain your calm and allow the other person to escalate. You don't want to escalate for them, right? We don't want to take away the opportunity for them to be direct.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes. It makes a huge difference in trying to repair things. Okay? She says, "Closest indirect direct I could get. Anyway, almost a year after our breakup, he did finally reach out to ask how I was doing and if we could get together."
Interesting.
Now, okay, this is what we're looking for. Something direct, not just a direct.
Right.
I mean, an indirect.
Right.
That's what she was getting. Indirects. Poking, likes of old memes, stuff like that. You don't want to respond to those things. But look, she didn't, and he finally asked her out. "I suggested a happy hour after I got off of work, and he actually wanted to go to dinner at one of my favorite places.
Interesting.
I consider it a success story no matter what happens. Needless to say, if things go well, I don't feel anxious at all anymore. I'll probably schedule time with you again. You mentioned my situation was a bit higher risk due to his traumatic past, and there are things I want to talk through before making any moves beyond one date."
I can see that she's very thought out about this, and I like that. She realizes that it's taken her time to get where she is, and she is moving cautiously forward.
Exactly, because she's no longer letting that anxiety overrule her. "My main point in this was to thank you for your wisdom and videos. I found comfort in some of my darker days and empowerment when in my healing era. You, the belated wonderful Margaret, and Victoria That's you.
That is
Are
me.
an amazing team with so much insight. I probably would have made so many mistakes and prolonged healing without you all. Cheers to finding peace and happiness, whether that includes our ex or not.
I love that. That's coming from a very grounded place. We talk often about accepting any outcome. That's really the goal. When we think about a success story, we think about you being at your most confident. We think about you being more accepting of uncertainty. We think about you being in a good place in your life and happy with where you're at.
That's where we want all of you to get. And some of you will get a chance with your ex, some of you won't. That is to be determined. But as you can see here, look at how her ex, this avoidant guy, started slowly coming back, right? Watching everything, liking everything, liking older posts, liking an old meme, right? Or responding to an old meme. And then eventually asking her out. These are a lot of the things that happen. And remember what she said, this was a year after the breakup. Okay?
Right.
So just because your ex hasn't reached out yet doesn't mean they are not going to. And look, she's done the work, and regardless of how it goes, she's in a much better place to navigate this and try and heal this in a healthy way.
Right. And the older I get, the more I realize the power of observation. One thing that she's done very well in this situation is she sat back and observed how her ex was acting. She observed how he was acting on social media. She didn't get riled up. She didn't use it as an excuse to reach out to him. She didn't use it as, her taking action and, wanting to get some clarity for herself and going after him. She said, no, I'm going to sit back and allow this person to come to me, to reach out to me, to be direct to me. So I think there's a lot of power in that. And I do think that there's more, you give the other person the opportunity to be more genuine with things, rather than being passive about things.
That's right. We try and have you guys work through your issues, get to a great place, and act like adults, because that's really what's going to turn things around to be healthy anyway. But just another example of what avoidants do when you think that they don't really care. Because remember, it was how many months after the breakup?
9 months.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, 9 months after the breakup before he started doing any of this stuff. So she thought he was truly never coming back. And hopefully many of you that are watching this will share an email success story or a similar email when it happens to you, so we can share it with everybody who doubts that they're going to come back.
Right. And what I love that's more important here is now you can see how the tables have turned. Now he's asking her out to dinner at her favorite place, right? So it's almost like, is she going to give him another chance? And I like how she's left the ending, open here.
Yep.
She didn't say, oh, well, I'm going to pursue this heavily now. She doesn't say, oh, well, I'm not going to give him another chance. She says, okay, let's see what he has to say. And I love that kind of confidence.
That's right. I love it too. I like where this is going. Let's see what happens. We don't know what's going to happen with him, but look at where she's at. She's feeling good. And even if it doesn't turn around with him, she's going to feel good knowing he was missing me. He was thinking about me. He did want to get together. And that also can make you feel good.
Right. Another way to think about it is if you can imagine yourself 9 months out of your breakup, just in this example, getting that message or seeing that kind of behavior from your ex, would you feel differently about where you are now? Meaning, I'm sure right now where she's standing, where she's getting this message of her ex asking her out to dinner, she's probably thinking, man, I might have been so anxious in the past. And if I would have known that this was coming, I would have been so relaxed.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
And so that's the mindset that you want to have, is that what's meant for you is coming.
And do the work regardless of what you think their interest level is. Because imagine she didn't do the work those first 9 months. These last 3 months, she wouldn't have handled it as well as she did. And she wouldn't be feeling as confident as she is now. And she would be beating herself up thinking, I wish I had done the work. But because she had all that time, she was in a much better position to turn it around.
Right.
All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
and we will talk with you soon.